A very good morning to all of you, class. Today we are going to enter chapter 2 first, okay? As I have told you yesterday. So the big topic for chapter 2 is carbon compound. Dalam bahasa Melayu, sebatian carbon. Keywords that you are going to learn today are hydrocarbon, inorganic carbon compounds, non-hydrocarbon, organic carbon compounds, saturated hydrocarbon, and unsaturated hydrocarbon. So what you will learn, you will have 4 subtopic. The longest subtopic is this one, homologous series. Today we are going to learn subtopic 2.1, types of carbon compound. So I will jump direct to the subtopic, types of carbon compound. In this subtopic, you are able to understand the carbon compounds, apa itu sebatian karbon, and also sumber-sumber. Dari mana sumber hydrocarbon? There is one topic link here. You have learned this one in Form 2 about carbon cycle. Okay, so what are carbon compounds? Carbon, sebatian karbon adalah sebatian yang mengandungi, contain carbon lah, because carbon compound, right? So they have carbon. There are 2 types of carbon compound. One is organic compound and one is inorganic compounds. So apa itu organic compounds? Let us look at this one. Compounds originating from living things that contain the carbon element, bonded covalently with other elements such as hydrogen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus. Secara ringkasnya, carbon compound ini ada 2, okay? Organic dan inorganic. Organic dari benda yang hidup. Asalkan ada carbon element dan dari benda hidup, maka itu adalah organic. Inorganic are compounds originating from non-living materials. Non-living such as oxides of carbon, carbonate compound, and cyanide compounds. So, what are the example of living things that have organic compounds in it? Contoh-contohnya adalah like glucose. Okay, you know what is glucose, right? Glucose, starch, protein, and so on. Untuk inorganic compound pula, you are used to this already. Carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, asalkan yang ada carbon, tapi dia bukan benda hidup. This one is gas kan? Ini pun gas, ini marmar. So bukan benda hidup, itu inorganic. Okay, so let us go to hydrocarbon and non-hydrocarbon. Actually kan, what you are going to focus in this chapter is this one only, organic compound. Dan I can tell you that there will be a big topic for you when you enter matrix or Form 6 nanti, called organic chemistry. Ini okay lagi, organic chemistry senang sikit. If you learn about inorganic, pening kepala. So organic chemistry, this is the introduction. This chapter 2 adalah introduction to organic chemistry when you enter matrix atau Form 6 nanti. So under the topic organic compound, kita fokus organic compound first. In fact, you are not going to learn inorganic compounds pun in Form 5. Organic saja, inorganic nanti. Okay, so under organic ada 2 lagi, okay? Hydrocarbon and also non-hydrocarbon. Ni, organic compounds are divided into hydrocarbon dan non-hydrocarbon. When you see hydro, lepas tu you see carbon, maka kamu fahamlah organic compounds jenis hydrocarbon tu yang mengandungi only hydrogen and carbon. Hydrogen dan karbon. Contohnya apa? Contohnya gas methane. Methane gas yang digunakan untuk memasakkan. Okay, methane gas. CH4. This is the formula. So asal kamu nampak formula dia C dengan H saja, maka itu adalah hydrocarbon compound. Non-hydrocarbon, organic compound containing carbon dan hydrogen juga. Ada juga hydrogen, ada juga carbon, and other elements such as oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, halogen. Dia bergabung lagi dengan unsur-unsur atau elemen-elemen yang lain. Okay, so let us look at this one. Organic compound, benda hidup kan? Okay, dari benda hidup, protein. So composition di dalam protein adalah protein has carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen. Kalau dia only carbon, hydrogen, maka itu hydrocarbon. Tapi dia ada benda-benda unsur-unsur lain lagi, so it is non-hydrocarbon. Petrol, Petrol ada carbon, ada hydrogen. Only. So dia punya jenis, the type is hydrocarbon, organic. Starch, kanji, ada carbon, ada hydrogen, ada oksigen. Memandangkan ada oksigen, maka itu adalah non-hydrocarbon. Okay, kita tengok ni natural gas. Natural gas ada carbon, ada hydrogen. Like I said just now, this one metana, gas methane. Okay, untuk memasak. Carbon dan hydrogen only inside natural gas. So itu adalah jenis hydrocarbon. So I hope you understand now. What is the meaning of hydrocarbon and also non-hydrocarbon organic compound. Lepas tu kan kelas, hydrocarbon pula classified into saturated and unsaturated lagi. Okay, hydrocarbon. So I ringkaskan what we learn today. Today we learn about carbon compound, kan? Carbon compound. And carbon compound ada dua. One is organic, one is inorganic. As I have told you, you only can focus organic saja in this syllabus form 5. Organic tu ada dua. One is hydrocarbon and one is non-hydrocarbon. Hydrocarbon. Yes, non-hydrocarbon. And then hydrocarbon ada dua lagi. Saturated. Yes, saturated and non-saturated. So now we are going to learn about apa itu saturated and apa itu unsaturated. Saturated, containing only single bonds. Single bond saja between the carbon atom. Contoh macam begini. Please don't be scared with the drawings because you will know how to draw this at the end of this chapter. Okay, so kalau kamu nampak begini, ada C and then ada single bond only, maka itu adalah saturated. Apa maksud saturated in bahasa Melayu is tepu. Tidak boleh sudah dicampur apa-apa di dalam. Tepu sudah. Unsaturated looks like this. Hydrocarbon containing at least one double bond or triple bond between carbon atoms. So the lukisan looks like this, the drawing. Okay, you will see ada C, ada H, kan dia hydrocarbon. So memanglah C dengan H saja. So C dengan H, C dengan H, C dengan H. But tiba-tiba di tengah-tengah CC ya, bukan CH ya. Antara C dengan C ada double bond between carbon atom. So ini unsaturated lah, tak tepu, tidak tepu. If you see like this, CCC, lepas tu antara these two C carbon atom ada triple bond, itu pun unsaturated. Okay, so what is the meaning of the saturated and unsaturated sebenarnya? Kalau otak kamu tepu, you cannot receive anything, sudah bah. You are too tired, you study too much. So tepu sudah, you cannot receive anything if anyone asks you to do anything. But unsaturated, macam begini, dia ada double bond. So what will happen to the double bond is it will break. It will break and then it can receive, cuba tengok, it can receive something else di bawah. Triple bond lagi lah. It will break and then it will receive something else di atas dan di bawah. So unsaturated hydrocarbon means you can allow more substance to react with this one. Ini pun you can allow more substance to react with this one, the hydrocarbon. Kalau ini cannot already. Okay, tepu sudah dia. Okay, so itulah dia punya perbezaan, and in fact inilah yang kita akan fokus in this chapter. Okay, saturated and also unsaturated hydrocarbon. If you look at buku Cikgu Azmi later on in page 88 and 89, ada dia punya nota yang sangat banyak. Okay, nota-nota dia. You can go to this one also, revision on covalent bond of saturated hydrocarbon and unsaturated hydrocarbon. Please follow this one, complete this one, activity 2A. Okay. Sources of hydrocarbon. So dari mana bah hydrocarbon ni berasal? Okay, the main source of hydrocarbon is petroleum or crude oil, gas asli. Okay, petroleum is formed from the remains of plants and animal dulu-dulu that perished, termendap at the bottom of the ocean millions of years ago. Petroleum dibentuk daripada bangkai ataupun saki-baki plants and also animal, tumbuhan dan juga haiwan dulu-dulu, millions of years ago. So petroleum is a mixture of simple or long chain hydrocarbon. Ingat, hydrocarbon tu yang ada C dengan ada H. Petroleum cannot be used for processing, before processing. So it needs to be refined. Kita tidak boleh terus-terus ambil petroleum dari bawah laut and then kita guna. It needs to be refined, okay, into its constituents. Maksudnya dia perlu dipisahkan kepada dia punya part-part through a distillation process, proses penyulingan. The two stages of oil refining are fractional distillation and cracking. So ini adalah dua proses yang terlibat untuk memecahkan petroleum daripada bawah laut, bottom of the ocean. Ingat, you cannot use petroleum directly. Tidak boleh cannot. You have to use petroleum apabila dia sudah diproses. Okay. So fractional distillation. Apa tu fractional distillation? The fractions of hydrocarbon in petroleum are separated at different temperature according to the size of the hydrocarbon. Apa maksud dia di sini adalah fractional, maksudnya pecah. Okay, pecahan, penyulingan berperingkat. Dipecah-pecahkan. So this is the petroleum fractional distillation process. Ini di dalam kilang. So mana lah tahu kan any of you become oil and gas working in an oil and gas punya company. So this is what you're going to see. So during the fractional distillation process, petroleum dipanaskan and stream into distillation tower. Macam beginilah. Distillation tower. The fraction in petroleum can be separated because each fraction of the hydrocarbon has its own boiling point. Let us look at this one. Beginilah proses dia. The process of fractional distillation of petroleum and how the products are used in daily life. So let us look at dia punya temperature. Lain bahagian, lain temperature dia. Petroleum gas less than 40 degrees Celsius. Okay, boiling point dia. And then fuel for motor vehicles 40 to 75 degrees Celsius. Naphtha, raw material for petrochemical industry 75 to 150. Makin turun makin tinggi the boiling point. Okay, so let us look at this one. Paling bawah sekali adalah bitumen, more than 500 degrees Celsius, digunakan untuk road pavement. Okay, tar jalan raya. Fuel untuk ship and also power station, fuel oil. Atas dia, lubricating oil and candles 300 to 350. Diesel oil, fuel for heavy vehicles such as bus and lorries. Ini kamu tahu kan, diesel kereta besar. Di atas lagi 125 until 300. Okay, kemudian kerosene, fuel untuk kapal terbang, dan seterusnya di atas sekali cooking gas, petroleum gas. So these are, mari kita tengok inilah peringkat-peringkat yang terlibat di dalam pemecahan penyulingan berperingkat. Lain kegunaan, lain takat didih. Semakin turun, semakin tinggi takat didih, dia semakin dekat dengan sumber habalah. This is petroleum yang raw, yang mentah, masuk dari sini and then dipanaskan. Bila dipanaskan, dia akan berbeza, terpecah mengikut dia punya takat-takat didih yang berbeza. So senanglah, sudah dapat sini, keluarkan, so you can use for motor vehicle. Okay, itu dia punya analogi lah. So mari kita tengok yang di sana. Big molecules di bawah have high boiling points, darker color. That's why bitumen kan hitam bah. Low combustibility and more viscous. Okay. Small molecule, low boiling point, brighter color, highly combustible and less viscous. Apa maksudnya? Semakin ke bawah semakin tidak berapa kuatlah untuk dibakar. Okay, low combustibility. Macam beginilah, kalau ini mudah terbakar, habis kita punya kereta, right? So di atas ni small molecule saja, so dia punya boiling point pun rendah, highly combustible, senang untuk digunakan bagi memasak. I hope you are okay with this one. Okay, ini adalah salah satu cara untuk mendapatkan petroleum untuk kereta, untuk masak dan sebagainya. So the next process adalah cracking. Cracking is the process of breaking long chain hydrocarbon into smaller hydrocarbon. Ingat, I have mentioned just now, hydrocarbon adalah sebatian yang mengandungi H and also C sahaja. So in the cracking process, compounds of large hydrocarbon are heated. Kalau mau crack, mesti mau panas lah, at a high temperature and pressure. Okay, ada catalyst yang digunakan. Catalyst, you should remember, adalah mungkin as a mixture, iaitu aluminium oxide, silicon 4 oxide. These two are usually used to increase the rate of reaction. So please remember lah, ada dua mungkin, aluminium oxide and also silicon 4 oxide. Okay, seterusnya, let us look at this one. Cracking process produces apa? Smaller hydrocarbons such as petrol. Petrol kan untuk kereta kecil, like my car, Privy use petrol. Kalau big car, use diesel oil, okay, such as bus. Selain itu, cracking process also produce apa? Alkane and alkene hydrocarbon with shorter chain to be used as raw material in the manufacturing of polymer, medicine, detergent, solvent, fertilizer, baja and many more useful product. In fact, inilah kita punya next subtopic, yaitu alkane dan alkene. So sebenarnya kita belajar sangat-sangat dalam mengenai petroleum. Okay, now you understand why petroleum ni high demand. Bila dia kena kasih pisah, dia sangat banyak kegunaan dia. Okay, cracking process kita sambung. The demand for smaller size hydrocarbon is higher because it combusts easily and is used as fuel. Jadi demand, permintaan untuk hydrocarbon yang berantai kecil lebih tinggi. Cuba kamu tengok yang ini ya. I forgot to let you know just now. Look at the C here. Tengok bah dia punya bilangan karbon C70. You know how to lukis this one kah? C. You have to lukis until 70. So the bigger the molecule, semakin besar dia punya takat didih. Okay, jadi susah untuk mau bakar dia. Itu logik dia lah. Cuba tengok di atas sekali. C1 until C4. Itu petroleum gas untuk cooking gas. Like I said just now, CH4, methane. C ya. Satu saja C dia. So dalam cracking process ada banyak lagi bahan yang terbentuk. Petrol, alkane, alkene untuk buat ubat, polimer, banyak kegunaan dia daripada petroleum. So dia punya demand lagi besar. Why? Sebab boleh terbakar dengan mudah dan digunakan sebagai bahan api. The separation of petroleum compounds through fractional distillation cannot meet high demands of smaller size hydrocarbon. So now you understand apa beza these two, okay? Apa beza these two, yaitu fractional distillation and also cracking. Kalau cracking, long chain hydrocarbon are cracked into smaller molecule at high temperature using a catalyst. Catalyst dia tadi adalah Al2O3 dengan SiO2. So ini lagi banyak demand lah. Cracking of petroleum lagi banyak demand because dia punya hasil-hasil lagi banyak kegunaan. Okay, mari kita tengok this one. Look at this one. Example 1. This is long chain hydrocarbon molecule. Kita panaskan dia, kita crack dia, we can get shorter chain of hydrocarbon molecule. Example 2. Mari kita tengok ada 1, 2, 3. My elephant pergi beli pen hingga hilang. So ini sebenarnya adalah hexane. Hexane bila kena crack, it will become dua sebatian. One is unsaturated compound and one is saturated compound. So bila kita pakai cracking, kita sebenarnya boleh dapat banyak lagi sebatian-sebatian kecil yang lain. So example yang ketiga, decane. Decane, C10 adalah decane. Bila dipecahkan, kena crack, dia boleh dapat pentene and also hydrogen. Hydrogen ada kegunaan banyak, pentene pun ada kegunaan yang banyak. So cracking reaction, there is a chemistry portal here, so please use your handphone and you can watch or learn more. Okay, so distillation of petroleum, ada eksperimen dia. Let us go to this last small subtopic. What are the alternative sources of hydrocarbon? Based on our current rate of usage, scientists predict that most of the petroleum reserve on Earth will be exhausted within 100 years. Within 100 years, tiada sudah. So therefore, there is a need for proactive and effective steps to produce alternative. So adalah cara-cara untuk menggantikan petroleum dari bawah laut. From the bottom of the sea akan habis in 100 year. Alternative to hydrocarbon refer to alternative energy sources other than a non-renewable fossil fuel. So apa dia? Biomass. Biomass is organic matter of plant and animal. It contains latent energy derived from the sun. These alternative sources are renewable. Alternative energy resource can be derived from many chemical process derived from biomass. So ini adalah example of alternative energy sources. Cikgu ringkaskan apa yang I read here. Kita mau gantikan petroleum because petroleum will habis in 100 years. So biomass is one alternative, salah satu kaedah lain. Daripada biomass we can get biodiesel, biogas, bioethanol. Ini adalah example of alternative energy sources. So habis di sana, you are required to do the self-assess 2.1. Okay, today mainly about apa itu carbon compound ada dua. Okay, inorganic and organic. So can you please do the exercise? Ada dua sudah exercise just now. Please refer to buku Cikgu Azmi juga for more notes. Thank you very much.